I want to note today is Giving Tuesday. So it's a day for all of us to give to different charitable organizations. I still think, and I say this every year, I'm going to continue to say it every year until this changes, the timing makes no sense to me. I mean, we just talked about yesterday how much money people spent on Black Friday and then the expectations for Cyber Monday. So people are completely wiped out. They've spent a ton of money on Christmas gifts, and then you're going to ask them after that to give to charity. You got to ask them to do that before they start spending on the holidays.
Right. Maybe they're hoping that like the guilt of, I just spent all this money on gifts for my own kids and my own family, I should give to those in need. Maybe they're counting on the guilt.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think that's the idea. Because
Yeah.
you're right.
Guilt?
Because obviously it's not because you have all this cash in your pocket.
No.
It's because you're thinking, oh man, what a glutton I was this past weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe I should share some of this stuff.
All right. It makes a little bit more sense that way. I like the way Miami does it. So Miami, they have Give Miami Day, and they do it on November 21st. They did it on November 21st, so well in advance of when you would start spending. If you're doing your holiday shopping before November 21st, then you are really on top of things.
Oh, I know some people who buy stuff all year and have it all done by this time.
Really?
Yes,
Christmas
they're
in July.
insane. They're insane.
Oh, no, I could never plan
Well,
that far
November
ahead.
21st is good because that's right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So you kind of have that frame of mind.
Right. My dad's birthday's tomorrow. I still don't know what I'm getting him. So.
Oh, really?
I'm a
Head down to the
scrambler.
department store.
Yeah. When we come back at 8 o'clock, we're going to have some suggestions for you for Giving Tuesday. We've got a couple of charitable organizations in South Florida and in the Tampa Bay area that we want to shout out. So if you are in the giving mood today, if you are feeling guilty about all that you spent on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, we'll have some suggestions for you coming up in just a bit. Right now, let's get to today's top stories. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. The White House is defending President Biden's decision to pardon his son, Hunter Biden, after insisting for more than a year that he would not do so. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters on Air Force One the president changed his mind in part because he believed Republicans and President-elect Trump would not let up on prosecuting his son once the incoming administration took over. And Biden, when he released a statement, said that he thought his son was treated differently, saying most people in that situation would not face felony charges for how they filled out a gun purchase, and that those who pay back taxes with interest penalties are given non-criminal resolutions, not prison time.
Here's what White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said after a reporter asked about whether or not the president has any credibility left after that big reversal on issuing the pardon.
One of the things that the president always believes is to be truthful to the American people. That is something that he always truly believes. And you look at the end of that statement, and he actually says that. He said he came to this decision this weekend. And he said he wrestled with this. And because he believes in the justice system, but he also believes that the war politics infected the process and led to a miscarriage of justice.
He believes in the justice system, except when it comes to his son, and then he
war politics
gives him a pass.
Get that?
Well, it's this accusation that, like, I guess it would be his Department of Justice, because it was the Biden Department of Justice, that they were somehow biased against him and Hunter Biden, and that's why the prosecutions
Well, remember,
took
a
place.
judge threw out a plea deal,
Yeah.
so they had to go back and come up with a different case.
Right.
I think the argument from the Democratic side and the Biden camp is that, well, you had these year-long investigations that suddenly came out in 2024, the election year for Biden, and also the prosecutions conveniently happened on the same year of the election. So the argument is that wouldn't have happened if it was a normal case. It wouldn't have been stretched into 2024.
Again, my point to that would be, and I haven't heard very many Democrats defend this, but my point would be it's the Biden Justice Department. This was Merrick Garland overseeing all of this, so I feel like it's kind of hard to make the case that it's so biased against him. Now, I kind of feel bad for Special Counsel David Weiss. Can you imagine you put all this work into these cases, and then just like that, Gone.
They're gone.
Just like with Jack Smith. I mean, Jack Smith put all that work into the Trump cases. Trump wins the election. Gone. Over with.
And all that taxpayer money spent on it, too. It's ridiculous.
Right. But when it comes to defending this, look, there's no polishing this turd.
There really isn't.
And I have not seen many people try to. I mean, Karine Jean-Pierre did her best there, but that was about it.
But here's the thing, though. Did anybody think he wasn't going to do this?
I never thought for a second he wasn't going to pardon.
I never believed a word of what he was saying, that he wasn't going to pardon his son. The question was when.
Yeah.
Would he do it, after the election? Would he do it the day before of the, the inauguration? Whatever.
Yeah.
Or it might have even stretched into, if he had won the election, into the next term. Do it after he's in office and doesn't have any political consequences.
Well, and a lot of people are saying, what parent wouldn't do it? If your kid had that type of charge and had
that's
issues,
what he should have said. He should have come out and said, instead
this
of this
is my
war
son,
on politics.
Yeah, of course I'm going to do it.
Yeah, it's my son. Of course I'm going to pardon him. If you had the pardon power, you would do the same thing.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, what else is going on this morning, Chris?
So Sarah Boone, the woman convicted of murdering her boyfriend by suffocating him in a suitcase, was sentenced to life in prison.
Oh, she's not getting a pardon.
Boone was found guilty on October 25th. Leaving her boyfriend, Jorge Torres, to die, zipped up in the suitcase for 11 hours in their Winter Park home back in February of 2020. And there's horrible video of her sitting there with him in the background saying, hey, please, let me out of here, Sarah, and
he's alive in the suitcase.
Yeah, you can hear him. It's like a muffled voice. And she's like, hey, that's my name, I can hear you, and does nothing about it. She's clearly just sitting there waiting for him to die. And she was convicted. And she turned down a 15-year plea deal.
Wow.
Now she's got life in prison.
How did she get him in the suitcase in the first place? Do we know those details?
Yeah, I don't know the details of how she got him in there.
Because usually when you have like a murder involving a body in a suitcase, the body's put in the suitcase afterward. Like this...
Yeah, I have no idea how she managed to get him in there.
This is crazy. And just the fact that she sat there while he was dying in the suitcase, and all she had to do was let
him out.
Just let him out. And she chose not to.
Yeah. Well, that's why she's getting a harsh
story.
sentence. And, the fact that it seems so callous.
Oh, yeah.
And, premeditated. So, yeah, that's her situation. And, surprisingly, they got her cold with the video, right?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you make a deal? And instead, now she's made some comments. She was surprised at the verdict. It's obviously not the brightest lady.
No, clearly
sounds
not.
Like she's nuts.
Yep.
So around $600,000 in speeding tickets have been issued after Manatee County flipped the switch on cameras that catch drivers speeding through those local school zones.
What are people doing? That's a lot of money.
How many counties have we heard this happen in? It's happened in Miami. It's happened in Hillsborough. Now it's in Manatee County, and it's the same story every time. People just keep running these speed zones and running by school buses and the other places they've set up cameras. And it's just an amazing thing because, look, everybody knows or should know that they're out there.
Right.
And second of all, it's dangerous. There are kids there, and it's illegal. What are these people doing?
The amount of tickets and citations from the school zones and from the school bus cameras, the cameras on the stop signs, I knew people were blowing through those school zones and sometimes not doing the right thing around school buses. I didn't know it was this bad.
Yeah, I hope they're taking that money and putting it back into the schools and paying the teachers with it. Like, what are they doing with all that money?
I know. It's exactly right. I mean, they definitely could use the money for a good purpose. But it shouldn't even be $1 worth of fines, let alone $600,000. People just shouldn't be breaking the law like that. The whole point of the fines is to make it a deterrent.
Yeah.
And it's not working.
And look, I think this is clearly needed if you've got this many people just, going that fast through school zones, not paying attention to school bus stop signs and all of that. But it also kind of feels like you've got counties and municipalities now that are looking at nice new revenue source.
Oh, of course
like those
they are.
red light cameras, and I remember when I used to travel from the Tampa Bay area up to Jacksonville, and and you would go through some of those small towns, and they would be staked out and just nailing people who are going through, going a little too fast.
Yeah, when I lived
like Stark, I think, or something.
Yeah.
When I lived in Maryland, they had the cameras, and they would be on roads that weren't, that weren't very busy, where it's easy to go over the speed limit, and they made the speed limit like 25.
Right.
And then you'd know, because I got tickets doing this, so I would know I cannot speed on this road. But there's always somebody behind you who just wants to go, and then they think that you're the jerk going too slow, and I'm like, I'm not getting a
Dana, you were going 27 and a 25.
No, I was probably going like 40 because that's what felt comfortable on the road, and then I got a ticket.
Those towns saw dollar signs.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
right.
they did. It was awful, but they set the speed limit exceptionally low just to get you.
Or what they do in some of those towns. I don't think they're allowed to do it. And I think there were some changes that were made because it was so outrageous. But they would do like 60 miles per hour and then 40.
Yeah.
Yes, they totally did.
Like, what the hell?
Absolutely did.
All right, Chris Trankman with today's top stories. Chris, thanks so much.
Thank you.